It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Welcome to County-Wide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio today. We've got a real treat for you, a little history lesson. We are going to be talking about Fort Whipple Museum over in Prescott. Chief Curator Mick Woodcock in studio. Welcome to studio.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that.
Period outfit. We got some period stuff here with us as well. Really, really good stuff. And we've been chatting for about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes already.
Something like that.
We just said we've already done the show. But for more information about Fort Whipple Museum, you can call 445-3122. The website is charlotte.org because Fort Whipple and Charlotte Hall Museum are combined.
That's correct.
Okay. They're open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Entrance was a donation.
Yes.
So those are always welcome, and we'll talk more about that towards the end of the show too, but donations are always welcome, especially for museums. So again, the number is 445-3122, charlotte.org, and Mick Woodcock in studio today. So let's get right into it, because there's a lot to talk about. You brought things with you.
I did.
We're going to dig into that a little bit, maybe after our first break, but let's go ahead and tell me about Fort Whipple. Give me the background on Fort Whipple.
Well, Fort Whipple was established in 1864 as part of the territorial governments getting set up in the area. Troops had come out, and these are California volunteers. Okay. So they're guys from California that walked over to New Mexico and then walked across southern Arizona in the summer.
Unbelievable.
To basically Las Cruces, then up to Albuquerque, and then over here. All walked. Wow, who knows how many pair of shoes they wore out.
No kid. Now this journey, just that alone from California to here, or from New Mexico to here, are they coming for work? Are they coming for less government? Why are they coming here?
People are just looking for a new start a lot of times.
Okay.
And so, well, take for example the Sanders. They come early and they get in trouble. Their wagon breaks down. While one of the teenage boys drops his pistol, shoots himself.
Oh my gosh.
He almost dies. His mother makes a poultice out of prickly pear cactus.
Oh my gosh.
And they have nothing when they arrive at the first site of Fort Whipple, which is now in Chino Valley. They called it Camp Clark. And Mrs. Sanders and her oldest daughter wind up doing the laundry for the troops there. The troops were authorized 2 laundresses per company, but they didn't have any laundresses with them. They had to do their own laundry. So this was a way to subsidize the Sanders, and they found work for Mr. Sanders. He's like in his 60s. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people coming west are not kids. They have grown sons that actually come here and say, hey, Mom and Dad, you ought to come out. This is a great place. Got a few Indians, but it's nice country. So the Sanderses are early pioneers here.
Mm-hmm. And just walked into a job. Sometimes that happens even today, you know.
Right, even today.
All of a sudden, you just happen to find a job, and there it is for them and after this tough journey getting here.
Right.
So, wow, that is amazing. Okay. So now Fort Whipple, 1864, you say?
So, yeah, and so what they do is Governor Goodwin is looking for a place to put the first capital of the territory, and so what happens is he says, you know, you guys need to move this fort because it is so far away from the diggings and everything. And so finally they agree that they're going to move the fort up on Granite Creek. The capital is going to be on Granite Creek. It becomes Prescott. And so the fort is part and parcel of the territorial government.
Oh my gosh. So what am I going to see? What do I see for Fort Whipple? Because I was telling you before the show, I'm always, and just before we started the show, that I'm always amazed. I've been here for 30 plus years, but there's still some spots I've never heard of. So there's got to be people watching, listening, that have never heard of Fort Whipple. Oh. Maybe Charlotte Hall Museum, but not Fort Whipple.
Right.
So tell me more about it. What's there?
What's there? Well, we're in a building that's part of the original fort from 1900. It's had a couple of different rebuilds, but they rebuilt the fort in the early 1900s. Then it became an Army hospital during World War I,
Okay.
taking care of tubercular and lung patients. And then it becomes the VA. And so it's actually the only VA hospital with a museum.
Oh, wow.
We basically, they lease us space. We're partners with them in this museum.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in one of the historic houses. It's the only house that's painted in the original color scheme, which is kind of a cream color with green trim. So it's called Building 11. That's what the government calls it, Building 11. But
Building 11?
Building 11. But it is an original 1905 or 06 officers' quarters. Now, junior officers, but it's got 4 floors. It's got a 1,000-foot attic, a 1,000-foot second floor, which would have been, bedrooms. It's got 1,000 feet on the first floor, and then it's got a full basement.
Wow.
So it's huge. The public only gets to go on the first floor and second floor, but it's, even for a couple of lieutenants, it's a big building.
Sure, sure. Is it and then all handmade?
Oh yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The structure alone has got to be something interesting to see itself.
Well, it is.
I would think,
because it's made out of concrete blocks, but not concrete blocks like we know them, not slump blocks. These are big, and they're all hand laid. And in fact, the one of our buildings at Sharlot Hall Museum, which was Prescott Warehouse and Transfer, it was made from culls, blocks they didn't want to use. Somebody bought them and built this building.
So what is the link between Fort Whipple and Sharlot Hall Museum?
Well, a couple of directors ago, one of our, Richard Sims, who was a director in the 90s, got to talking to the then director of the VA, and they got to talking about the history. And Patricia McClem was the director at the time, and she loved history. Mm-hmm. And so eventually there developed a memorandum of understanding between Sharlot Hall Museum and the Veterans Hospital to put in a museum. And so we did all kinds of research, and a number of people did the writing of the exhibit script, and then we did the installation, and it's volunteer staffed these days.
Beautiful, beautiful. So if I come to the museum, what am I going to see inside? Okay,
we've got 2 floors of exhibits, and it's basically the history of the fort.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The foyer has got some introductory material as why the fort is even there and who it's named for. But basically, and it's the history of the fort with artifacts that pertain to the fort.
Who is it named after?
It's named after Emil Weeks Whipple, who was...
Emil Weeks Whipple.
Yeah, the Whipple survey.
Wow, that's a name.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's a lieutenant that does a survey, a road survey through northern Arizona, basically Interstate 40. In the
Really?
In the 1850s. And so when the governor's party comes out here, they're following what they refer to as the Whipple route. They've got their map. And
the Whipple route.
So, and back then Flagstaff was known as Antelope Springs. So,
okay. So Whipple, he must have been here for a very long time.
Actually, Whipple never, he just went across northern Arizona, and then during the American Civil War, he's killed at the Battle of Chancellorsville, and so somebody says, we ought to memorialize him. Let's name this fort in Arizona for him.
That's it then?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, okay, that's something else. We got to take our first break. Chief Curator for Whipple Museum, Fort Whipple Museum in Prescott, Mick Woodcock in studio today. Phone number 445-3122. The website is charlotte.org. Stick around, countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
So you're looking online now? Yeah, great condition. I hate to see her go, but I really just need the cash. Well, the price is still just $1,000, but you have to send the money now, right now. Well, that's why the price is so low. Like I said, I need cash fast. I can't wait on a check or money order. You have to send cash now.
The moment they ask for immediate cash is the moment you know something's wrong. Think before you send money. Learn more at scamawareness.org.
Orkin has pest control down to a science.
When your business chooses Orkin's Precision Protection Program, you get a tailored pest control program for your specific industry and environment.
Your business can benefit from over a century of experience, training, and scientific knowledge that define the Orkin man.
Maximum protection, minimum exposure, backed by one of the industry's most comprehensive guarantees.
Choose your locally owned and operated Northern Arizona Orkin and get more than an exterminator. Get an expert.
Welcome back to Countywide. Great to have you with us. Mick Woodcock, Chief Curator of the Fort Whipple Museum over in Prescott at the VA Hospital. Is that,
yes,
you just go to the
correct.
VA Hospital parking lot and then you go into the museum? Okay, that's how you do it. Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, they're open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. They take donations when you come in. That's how you pretty much get in the door. Sharlot.org is the website for more information. Now, Mick brought things with him that are there a period. Like this, the Springfield rifle is from
model of 1866, but it's a reworked Civil War musket.
Okay. And when you say reworked,
well, the Army wanted cartridge weapons after the American Civil War, and Congress says, we're not giving you any money to buy them, figure it out yourself. So what they did at the arsenal, they had thousands of these percussion Civil War muskets, 58 caliber. They started working on them, and so what they did here is they would bore out the 58 caliber rifling, put a sleeve in it, and then rifle it to 50 caliber, and then put the trapdoor on so they'd have a way to put the cartridge in the breech. But other than that, it's a full-length Civil War musket. The lock is dated 1864. It's got all the other hardware. So the Army is making do, but it's a good cartridge, and so it gets the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're asking what to see at the Fort Whipple Museum. During the summer, on the third Saturday, we have living history interpreters. And so I was out there last Saturday with my kit, and people are able to handle history.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow.
they can pick the musket up, see what it feels like. Look in the guy's haversack, which is where you're supposed to carry your rations and your...
Even the sack was interesting because I'm touching the sack. It's different feeling.
Oh, it is. It's called enameled cloth. So it's linseed oil based paint. It's what they used back then, and oddly enough, it's making a comeback because it's environmentally safe.
Mm-hmm. Weatherproofing.
Yeah, and it's real old time weatherproofing. I mean, I don't know. It goes back to at least the American Revolution because they're painting stuff with this oil-based paint. So
just to keep it dry.
Just to keep it dry, and you can see this one I use as a personal haversack, but this thing is. I've taken this on I don't know how many hikes and marches, and you can see it's got some wear to it.
Right, yeah, definitely.
But it's still pliable, and it doesn't have any chips or anything. It's still weatherproof. So this one is brand new, but this one has got some honest wear to it. So.
And these are the things that you keep with you.
Yeah. So
okay.
The interesting thing about this time period is. The generals are going, well, we've got to have the soldiers buy their own utensils because they won't take care of stuff that we give them or issue to them. So, the guys are buying whatever they can get their hands on.
Right. Just some utensils, okay.
Yeah.
Or none at all.
Or none at all, yeah.
Odds are you probably had a knife on your belt.
Could be, or a pocket knife.
And then I've got two hands, so why do I need a fork or a spoon? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
And so I also carry a corkscrew simply because most people don't realize that if you had a bottle of any kind, it was closed with a cork. We're so used to pop tops and
twist offs.
Yeah, that people just don't realize that that's a modern 20th century.
That's the first time I've seen one of these. That's interesting. It just folds down.
Right.
Take the cork out. Off you go. All right. Beautiful. And then you got little sacks with daily rations, I think.
Well, this is salt and sugar and coffee.
Coffee. Oh, I bet that was a big deal, right?
Coffee
would have been huge.
It was a real big deal. In fact, on the march, this is my campaign outfit. General Crook let these guys wear anything they wanted to, and so we got a photo of one of his companies. Some of these guys were on a scout. It looks like civilians. There's no uniforming to them. The two cavalry guys, they've at least got everything. They got civilian hats, but I mean they're wearing the uniform coat and trousers and whatnot. But you know, these guys are living on coffee and hardtack and salt pork.
This is real.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Yeah, it is, because it's unleavened bread.
Okay.
It's just flour and water baked. So, and kind of the standard thing. I mean, you can bite a piece off, but it's not good for your teeth. So, you know, they throw it in their coffee. It'd get soft. Then you could chew it.
Okay. All right.
And you know, you don't care if there's a little extra stuff floating in your coffee, because you'll drink it anyways.
Right.
So those kind of things, and then because I portray a sergeant, these guys, the 23rd Infantry guys at Fort Whipple, went on a scout, and it was a combined unit, part of the company, G 5th Cavalry. They went on. There's about 20 of them, and this lieutenant and a civilian scout. But they were riding Army saddles, so we got infantry guys that are carrying their rifles on the front of the saddle, and then they strap a blanket to the back of the saddle, and they'd probably be carrying their spare socks and stuff like that in there. But you know, as a sergeant, I'm responsible for my guys, and so I've got to have some tools to help them take care of their muskets. So I got an extra spring, main spring, in case they break a spring.
All right.
Punches to help just get the furniture off of it, and a mainspring vise. So if you're going to replace one of these things, you cannot collapse it with your fingers. There's no way. So you have to have a device to compress this and stick it into the back of the lock.
Tools of the trail.
Yeah. And of course then I got my regular, everybody gets one of these tools.
Now you say every third Saturday of the month.
Yeah. So
third Saturday of the month, you've got what going on at Fort Whipple?
Living history.
Living history,
yeah,
okay.
So this is the tool everybody gets.
And what's this for?
Well, you're expected to keep your musket clean, so it's got 2 screwdriver blades. You can take most everything off. Of course, the sergeant.
It's a multi-tool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. It's so small. They're so much bigger. Usually things get smaller in time, but this is so small. That's amazing. We have to take another break.
All right,
we have to take another break. Chief Curator Mick Woodcock from Fort Whipple Museum in Prescott's in studio. Their phone number is 445-3122. Website is charlotte.org. Stick around, countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
Mateo.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Hello, Mr. Hopkins. This is Sue from Disaster Relief. We're calling neighbors statewide to get help for storm victims. Children, lost parents, homes. You can. Oh, thank you. But could you send the money now? The need is urgent. We so appreciate you. It means so much, but it has to be now. It has to be cash. No credit cards, checks, just cash.
The moment they ask for immediate cash is the moment you know something's wrong. Think before you send money. Learn more at scamawareness.org.
Schools have a big problem. Every year, millions of kids come to class with nothing. So teachers end up spending thousands of dollars of their own money just to make sure kids have what they need to learn. I'm the school supply fairy. My assistant and I do what we can. But we could really use your help.
Welcome back to Countywide. Just a few minutes left of the program. Again, Chief Curator Mick Woodcock in studio today. Fort Whipple Museum in Prescott, 445-3122. Website is charlotte.org. My notes today is all of one question. Tell us about Fort Whipple, and then, of course, all this comes flying out of here. I mean, it's just amazing how we sit down and we just get a small taste of what we've got going on here. But we want to encourage people to come to Fort Whipple.
Right.
Yeah. And
so I was telling you that the third Saturday of the month in the summer, because we do this outside and it gets a little cool after October, but we'll have 2 or 3 guys and they will have their equipment. So a lot of times we'll have First California Volunteers, the guys that founded the fort. I'm out there, I'll either do infantry or cavalry from the early 1870s. We've got a guy that does Rough Riders, and it's a chance to interact with people that know about the history and pick up the artifacts and hold the weapons and find out about the food or anything else you're interested in.
So you're dressed in period today. I am. You said you're a sergeant.
Yeah, I based this outfit on a photograph we have at Sharlot Hall Museum of a couple of guys from a scout that was done in 1873, and these guys were from Company K, 23rd U.S. Infantry, which was General Crook's original outfit that he brought out here. And Crook wasn't much into uniforms, and so when his guys went on scout, he'd let them wear anything. And so these 2 23rd Infantry guys, I know they are because they've got the long muskets, they're dressed in civilian clothes. You couldn't tell them from miners. So they wore whatever was comfortable and whatever worked. And so Army uniforms tend, and particularly in the summer, I mean, it's not only pretty much one size fits all, but it's wool. And so these guys are wearing canvas pants, and they're wearing civilian cotton shirts instead of the wool cotton blend issue shirt.
Right.
You know, they're comfortable. They got hats that work instead of ones that don't, and so these guys could even look jaunty.
What is Mick Woodcock's jewel at Fort Whipple? What is your favorite piece at Fort Whipple?
My favorite piece?
Yep.
It's got to be, oddly enough, it's got to be a carbine barrel off a carbine that was discovered there at the fort, and we've got it in a case next to an original carbine that we think probably was surplused out of Whipple because it's been in the area so long. And you can see it's the same mechanism, the same weapon. It's just one survived and one didn't.
thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate you taking your time to come over and give us a little history lesson. And I hope folks will go out there. So again, Fort Whipple Museum, it's in Prescott, the VA Hospital. 445-3122 is the phone number. Website is charlotte.org. They're open Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Every third Saturday during the summer months is the living history. So you just want to get over there and check it out. Chief Curator Mick Woodcock, again, thank you so much for coming in.
All right, thank you,
That's
Paul.
today's County-Wide. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you again next time.